came home late, heard my name in the living room, and found out the truth they hid for years. I'm the oldest of four, but I've always felt like the extra one nobody ordered. My siblings got birthday parties with friends, cake, photos, everything. For me, Mom would quietly slip a cupcake onto my desk like it was a secret, then close the door and tell me to be good because Dad was tired. If I tried to talk at dinner, Dad would grunt and ask Zachary about practice instead. Christmas was the same, and I'd watch my brother and sisters rip open new phones and bikes, while Dad handed me a small box without looking up, and it was always socks, every single time. When my sister Alyssa turned 16, she got a new Honda with a bow on it. When I turned 16, Dad signed a plain card and went back to the TV. Family trips were worse because they'd pack the van, wave, and drop me at my grandparents' place. My grandparents didn't want me either. Within an hour, my grandma would be on the phone asking other relatives if they could take him for a few days because they already had plans, and she sounded annoyed the whole time. So I bounced from couch to couch with a duffel bag, trying not to cry in anyone's guest room. At church, Dad would smile and say, "These are my kids," then point at Zachary and my sisters, and I'd be standing right there while he just moved on like I wasn't even in the line. I kept thinking, if I do everything right, he'll finally notice me, even once. So I did. Straight A's, honor roll, varsity track as a freshman, medals from meets, a full scholarship to state school. Dad glanced at the scholarship papers, said, "Okay," and asked if I'd taken the trash out, and he never came to one race or asked to see my report card. Meanwhile, Zachary barely passed, and Dad was in the front row for every football game, even the ones 3 hours away. I learned not to ask why I was treated different, because the answer was always the same. Stop being dramatic. Last night, I got home from my warehouse shift at 11 p.m. I was sore and exhausted, just wanting a shower and bed. The house was dark, but the living room light was on, and I heard voices. Mom, Dad, and my Aunt Sharon were arguing, sharp and low, like they didn't want the neighbors to hear. So I stopped in the hallway when I heard my name. Sharon said, "He should be more grateful to your husband. After everything Gregory's done for that boy, a roof, food, clothes." Dad muttered, "He's lucky we didn't send him away." Mom whispered, "Sharon, please, not tonight." Sharon shot back, "Not tonight? It's been 23 years. He thinks he's just another kid in this house." Mom's voice cracked as she said, "I wanted to tell him. You both told me no." Then Dad said something that made my skin go cold. He doesn't need the truth. He knows his place. I gripped the wall so hard my fingers hurt, and my heart was pounding loud in my ears. Then Dad saw me. His face drained like someone pulled a plug, and Mom's hand flew to her mouth like she might throw up. Sharon didn't look guilty at all. She smiled like she'd been waiting for this and said, loud and cheerful, "Well, look who finally showed up. Here comes the outsider himself." My stomach dropped, and I said, "What did you just call me?" Dad stepped forward fast with his palms out and said, "Son, don't. Let's not do this right now." I took a step back and pointed at him. "Don't call me that," I said. "You don't get to call me down after ignoring me my whole life." Sharon crossed her arms and said, "Oh, please. He's acting like a victim again." I looked right at her. "Say it again," I said. "Say what you mean." She shrugged and said, "Fine. You're not his. You never were." The room went so quiet I could hear the clock ticking over the fireplace. My hands started shaking so hard I had to ball them into fists as I stared at Dad, the man I'd called Dad for 23 years, and asked, "Is that true?" He stared at the carpet like it was suddenly the most interesting thing in the world, then swallowed and said, barely above a whisper, "I'm sorry." That was it. 2 words for every birthday with a cupcake in my room. 2 words for every Christmas with socks. 2 words for every time he hugged my siblings goodbye and walked past me like I was a chair. I turned to Mom, and tears were running down her face, but she didn't say yes or no. She just stood there shaking, like if she spoke, she'd fall apart. Sharon leaned forward with bright eyes and snapped, "He didn't have to do anything for you. You're not his blood. You're not his responsibility." Dad flinched, but still wouldn't look at me. Mom kept wiping her face, but still wouldn't look at me either. Sharon shook her head like I was the problem. My chest felt tight, like all the air got sucked out, and I waited for someone to stop it, to say she was lying, to say I mattered, anything, but nobody did. I nodded once, like I understood, even though my brain felt fuzzy. Then I walked past them, down the hall, and closed my bedroom door behind me. Now my family is saying I overreacted by asking the truth. Was I wrong?